My name is Emma Sullivan, 33, and I thought I knew my boyfriend, Michael Bennett, 35, inside and out. We'd been together for just over 18 months, and he'd moved into my apartment 8 months ago. I worked as a graphic designer, often putting in long hours to meet tight deadlines, while Michael had a decent job in real estate development, enough to live comfortably, but nothing flashy. That afternoon, I was on my lunch break, scrolling through Instagram while half eating a sandwich at my desk, when I saw it, a photo that made my stomach twist. Michael had posted a picture of us dining at Lucille Blue, the kind of $200 per plate restaurant I'd only ever seen in magazine spreads. The caption read, "When he finally stops being cheap and takes you to nice places, hashtag blessed girlfriend, hash Lucille Blue." I froze. Lucille Blue? We had never been there, not even close. The photo was clearly from some holiday party months ago, but he'd doctored it with filters, cropping it to make it look like a table for two, and tagged the restaurant. A table set perfectly for a couple, but I wasn't there. I sat back and exhaled slowly, trying to calm the sudden rush of disbelief. My mind flashed back. I was working an out-of-town project that week, a 3-hour drive from home. I had eaten a gas station sandwich while Michael apparently treated me to fine dining. My heart sank at the thought of the betrayal, or was it just a misunderstanding? I couldn't keep quiet. I grabbed my phone and called my best friend, Clara. "Clara, you're not going to believe this," I said, voice shaking. I showed her the post. "Look, Lucille Blue, us, tonight." She stared at the screen. "Emma, aren't you like 400 miles away?" "Exactly. That's what I said." "Yes, I'm literally on site at the new project, alone, eating bad sandwiches. Michael, this doesn't make sense." I tapped through his story. More posts, cocktails I'd never ordered, dishes I hadn't touched, perfectly plated desserts, all tagged at Lucille Blue, and always just his side of the table. That's when it hit me. He wasn't alone. I wanted to believe he had an explanation, something simple, but my gut tightened. I posted a story of my own. A hard hat selfie, the construction site clearly visible, lunch sandwich in hand. Tag, my location. Tag, graphic designer. Life, hashtag hard work pays off. Within minutes, Michael's post vanished. Moments later, my phone rang. "Emma, what the hell?" he asked, anger and confusion laced in his tone. "Michael, why would you post that? Why lie?" His voice softened, playful almost. "Funny. I was going to ask you the same thing. How's Lucille Blue?" My chest tightened. "I'm 300 miles away. I've never been to Lucille Blue." There was a pause. You just don't remember? I think I paid $500 for that dinner." A chill ran down my spine. His excuses didn't make sense. He was trying to rewrite reality. That was the first real crack in the image I had of him. By the time I got off the call, my mind was racing. Over the 3-hour drive home, I planned. I stopped at Ethan, a friend who worked in IT, to see if he could uncover any evidence. Within 5 minutes, we had it. Michael's Instagram location history, showing frequent visits to fancy restaurants, wine bars, and even a spa resort, always during my out-of-town work weeks, always deleted within a day. Patterns were undeniable. The metadata told another story. Photos supposedly taken by Michael were shot on an iPhone 14 Pro, but he only owned an iPhone 12. Something, or someone, had been helping him. I got home late, just past 11 p.m. Michael was supposed to be asleep, but I could hear his breathing in the bedroom, too controlled, too quiet. I stayed on the couch, letting the silence stretch, the suspicion fermenting. The next morning, he was unusually sweet. Made breakfast, packed my lunch, touched my arm, acting as if nothing had happened. "Emma, I'm sorry about yesterday," he said, almost perfunctorily. "I shouldn't have posted old photos. I get insecure sometimes. I just wanted my friends to think you care about me." It was manipulative, the guilt dance in full swing. And there it was, the first glimpse of the double life I suspected he had been living. I reminded myself patience, observation, proof. Emotionally, I was bracing for something I wasn't yet ready to see, but a part of me knew the illusion I had of Michael was about to shatter. The next week was a blur of quiet observation. Michael acted normal, even affectionate, but I couldn't shake the tension coiling in my chest like a live wire. Every smile, every casual glance felt layered, rehearsed. My mind kept replaying the posts, the deleted photos, the metadata we'd uncovered. I spent hours combing through his social media activity, cross-referencing timestamps and locations. Tuesday nights, Thursdays, weekends, always when I was out of town, always near luxury restaurants, wine bars, or spas. It was a pattern I couldn't ignore, and every post vanished within a day, leaving a faint trail of doubt. I noticed a subtle, almost invisible signature in the images. The lighting, the angles, even the way the table for two was set. Someone was staging it, someone else was there, and it wasn't me. My internal monologue ran in endless loops. Why would he lie? Who else is involved? Am I imagining this? I decided to test it. The next day, I installed a discreet camera in the living room, citing security reasons for being away so often. Michael barely glanced at me while I explained. He accepted it with a casual nod, oblivious, or maybe too confident. Tuesday came. Supposedly, Michael was working late. I parked 3 blocks away, my heart hammering as I peeked at the camera feed on my phone. 6:20 p.m. He began getting ready, not casual clothes, but the dress I had bought him for his birthday. Wrong. He wasn't wearing it for me. He was wearing it for her. By 7 p.m., a sleek black car pulled up. He got in, and I followed discreetly. 7:15 p.m. Another post appeared on his Instagram. Cooking dinner for my hardworking man. #boyfriend mode. The kitchen looked familiar, but the plating and decor didn't. His side of the table was staged, hers visible in fleeting angles. They went to Lucille Blue, the real one this time. My stomach churned as I watched him lean close, whispering, laughing, the hand resting where it shouldn't. She was not a stranger. Her name? Olivia Harris, someone I would later learn was married, a social media influencer with her own carefully curated life. I didn't confront him that night or the next day. I needed facts, not accusations. Over the week, I gathered screenshots, recordings, timestamps. Every deleted post, every manipulated image, every suspicious pattern, cataloged like evidence in a trial. Michael was smart in some ways, careless in others. Smart enough to hide the other person's identity. Dumb enough to leave traces in metadata. His hubris was almost cinematic. I remember sitting on my couch late at night, phone in hand, feeling a mixture of grief, rage, and disbelief. The Michael I thought I knew was gone. In his place was someone I barely recognized, charming, manipulative, CTA, and capable of living a double life. By Friday, I had enough. Enough to confront, enough to plan, enough to decide that I would not be the passive observer anymore. I made a decision. Patience had its limits. That evening, Michael came home. He was casual, even cheerful, oblivious to the storm gathering in me. I watched him through the kitchen doorway, every movement calculated in my mind. I realized something crucial. Betrayal wasn't just about the other person. It was about the lies, the pretense, the emotional manipulation. And I was done being a character in someone else's story. I prepared myself, mentally and emotionally. Michael was about to meet a version of me he had never seen. Deliberate, unwavering, and relentless. The first step had been observation. The next? Confrontation. With the truth, the evidence, and the emotional reckoning he had been avoiding. The days that followed felt like living in a film I never auditioned for. Every time Michael smiled at me, I saw the double life lurking behind his eyes. I knew I couldn't confront him without proof. This wasn't just about suspicion anymore. It was about undeniable truth. I decided to follow him discreetly. Tuesday night, he claimed he was working late. I told no one, took the day off, and kept my car inconspicuous in a nearby lot. My hands gripped the steering wheel as I watched him leave the apartment. The sleek black Mercedes pulled up on schedule. My stomach tightened. He got in, and there she was, Olivia Harris, married, impeccably dressed, hair perfect, smile practiced yet intimate. My heart sank as they embraced. His hand on her back, hers on his arm. A kiss in the car, lingering, deliberate. They went to Lucille Blue, the restaurant he had once pretended to take me to months ago. The real Lucille Blue, with its expensive tables and quiet, refined ambiance. My stomach twisted as I captured the moment on my phone. The proof was right there. Him with someone else, alive and undeniable. I didn't storm in, didn't yell, didn't call. I stayed in the shadows, cataloging everything. The dates, the timestamps, the restaurant's interior, every image a dagger of betrayal. This wasn't just a one-time lapse. It was a routine. By the end of the week, I had compiled screenshots, photos from the camera, timestamps, and even his digital footprint on social media. The pattern was undeniable. Luxury dinners, wine bars, spas, all meticulously staged, always while I was away, always deleted within 24 hours. When I finally confronted him, it was calm, deliberate. I waited until he was home, casual, unsuspecting. "Michael, we need to talk," I said, my voice steady, measured, though my chest ached. He looked up from his phone, surprise flashing, then amusement. "About what?" I placed the phone on the counter, scrolling through the evidence. "About your life while pretending to be with me, about Olivia, about Lucille Blue." His smirk faltered. "Emma, it's not what you think." "Oh, it's exactly what I think," I said, my hands steady despite the tremor in my chest. "You lied. You staged photos. You've been seeing someone else. And you didn't just sneak around. You created a whole performance online. For likes, for status, for what? A thrill?" He opened his mouth, but I continued, unrelenting. "I have the posts, the timestamps, the deleted stories, even the metadata showing your phone couldn't have taken those photos. I have everything." Silence. For the first time, I saw Michael hesitate, the charm slipping, the mask cracking. "Emma, we can talk about this. I didn't mean—" "No," I cut him off. "We don't talk about this. You lied. You betrayed me. You manipulated me. And now everyone knows the truth." He froze. His expression shifted from disbelief to panic, the realization of exposure settling over him like ice. For weeks, I had been piecing together a puzzle, each discovery sharpening the edges of reality. Michael had thought he could control the narrative, but the truth doesn't bend to charm or excuses. By the time I was done, I had a complete record. Screenshots of every staged Instagram post, recordings of the camera, proof of every luxury dinner, every lie. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was methodical, habitual, calculated. That night, I slept on the couch, the weight of what I had learned pressing down. But somewhere under the anger and heartbreak, there was clarity. I wasn't a victim. I was the one holding the story, the evidence, the truth. And for the first time in months, I felt a flicker of control. I had proof, and with proof came power, the power to finally confront, to reclaim my reality, and to ensure that Michael's web of lies would unravel completely. The morning after gathering all the evidence, I felt an odd mix of dread and resolve. Michael was already in the apartment, acting as if nothing had changed. I kept my phone close, each notification a potential reminder of the double life he had been living. By noon, I had made my decision. I would expose the truth, not out of vengeance, but to reclaim my life, my dignity, and my peace of mind. I created an Instagram account, meticulously posting every detail, the staged Lucille Blue dinners, the timestamps proving I was elsewhere, the real-life photos of him with Olivia. Every post was factual, unembellished, undeniable. Within minutes, his phone buzzed incessantly. He stormed into the room. "Emma, what have you done?" "I posted the truth," I said calmly, meeting his eyes. "The lies, the staged posts, everything. People need to see the reality you've been hiding." Panic, confusion, anger, his face flickered through all of it. "You're insane. Take it down." "No," I said. "It's already out there. It's the life you created, and now it exists in the world. You chose this." The fallout was immediate. Friends, colleagues, even family of his began contacting me, shocked by the revelations. Olivia Harris' husband, James, discovered the photos and evidence as well. The illusion of charm and control he had wielded crumbled in hours. Michael tried to justify, to manipulate, but the narrative had shifted. The power was no longer his. He was exposed for the manipulative, dishonest man he was. For me, the exposure wasn't about humiliation. It was catharsis. Months of uncertainty, suspicion, and heartbreak had been replaced by clarity. I no longer questioned my instincts. I trusted my judgment, my eyes, my evidence. Over the following weeks, Michael faced the consequences: fractured relationships, public scrutiny, and the inevitable social fallout. Olivia dealt with the collapse of her own carefully curated life, and the reverberations of their choices echoed in every corner of their social circles. For myself, the aftermath was quieter but profound. I focused on healing, therapy, and rebuilding trust in myself and others. I learned the delicate art of discerning genuine affection from manipulation, sincerity from pretense. New opportunities, small joys, and authentic connections began to fill the spaces Michael had left empty. I went on dates where the food, the conversation, and the laughter mattered far more than appearances. I discovered that real love and trust are built offline, in shared moments, not online illusions. And occasionally, when scrolling past Lucille Blue in someone's feed, I smiled. Not with bitterness, but with the satisfaction that truth, patience, and clarity had won. The lessons were hard, the pain real, but the victory was mine, a reclaimed life, a strengthened heart, and the unshakable knowledge that I would never again let someone else dictate my reality. From stage dinners to real-life truths, from betrayal to resilience, my story ended not with revenge, but with empowerment. Michael's lies were exposed, Olivia's secrets revealed, and I emerged intact, wiser, and unbound. The final thought lingered. When someone shows you who they truly are, through actions, not words, you don't negotiate, you believe them, you walk away, and you never look back.